You know how they say you never really know someone? Yeah, well, I learned that lesson the hard way. My name's Marcus Webb, and up until 6 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. 15 years of marriage to my high school sweetheart, Sarah. A daughter, Emma, who just turned 13. A successful construction business that I'd built from the ground up with my best friend since kindergarten, Jake Morrison. Life was good. No, scratch that, life was perfect. We lived in one of those cookie-cutter suburban neighborhoods where everyone waves at each other and kids ride bikes until the streetlights come on. Sarah worked part-time at the local library, spent her afternoons volunteering at Emma's school. Jake and I would grab beers every Friday after work, talking about expanding the business, maybe opening a second location. I was living the American dream. Then came March 14th, the day everything fell apart. Hashtag part 2. The discovery. It started with something small. Stupid, really. Sarah's phone kept buzzing during dinner, and when I glanced over, I saw her smile. This private little smile I hadn't seen in years. The kind of smile that made my stomach drop without knowing why. "Who's that?" I asked, trying to keep it casual. "Oh, just the book club group chat," she said, flipping her phone face down. "You know how those ladies get." But here's the thing, Sarah never smiled at her book club messages. Those texts usually made her roll her eyes and complain about Karen's terrible book choices. I told myself I was being paranoid. 15 years together. We had trust. We had history. We had Emma. But that night, after Sarah fell asleep, I did something I'd never done before. I grabbed her phone off the nightstand. She always used Emma's birthday as her passcode, same as everything else, and I opened her messages. The first few were normal. Book club. Her sister. The school PDA. Then I saw it. A contact saved as Dave, electrician. Weird, I thought. We hadn't needed an electrician in over a year. I opened the thread. My hands started shaking before I even finished the first message. "Can't stop thinking about last night. Your skin, your touch, the way you said my name." I scrolled up. Weeks of messages. Months, actually. Photos I never wanted to see. Plans for meetups when I was supposedly at work sites. And then I saw the part that made my blood run cold. Jake says Marcus will be in Cleveland all next week. We'll have plenty of time at the house. Jake. My best friend. My business partner. The guy who stood beside me at my wedding. The guy who held Emma when she was born. He knew. Hashtag part 3. The confrontation. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. I just lay there in the dark, listening to Sarah breathe, wondering how long she'd been lying to me. Wondering if she ever loved me at all. When morning came, I acted normal. Made coffee. Kissed Sarah goodbye. Drove Emma to school. Then I called Jake. "Hey, brother," he answered, all cheerful. "What's up?" "Meet me at the warehouse. Now. We need to talk about the Cleveland project." "Can it wait?" "I've got." "Now, Jake." 20 minutes later, he pulled up in his truck. I was standing by the loading dock, and when he saw my face, he knew. He absolutely knew. "Marcus, listen. How long have you known?" My voice was calmer than I expected. Dead calm. Jake's face went white. "Known what?" Don't you dare insult me like that." "How long?" He looked at the ground. 3 months. "Look, man, I wanted to tell you, but what? You were too busy helping my wife cheat on me? Too busy lying to my face every Friday while we drank beers and talked about our futures." "It's not like that. I found out by accident. I saw them at a restaurant in the city, and when I confronted Sarah, she begged me not to tell you. She said she was going to end it, that it was a mistake. 3 months ago." I stepped closer. "That means you've known for 3 months and said nothing. You've sat at my dinner table. You've played with my daughter. You looked me in the eye and lied." "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't know what to do. I was trying to protect you." "Protect me?" I laughed, and it sounded hollow. "You want to protect me? Here's your chance. Tell me his name." "Marcus." "His name." Jake hesitated, then sighed. "David Chun. He's a client. That developer from the Riverside project. David Chun." The guy with the perfect smile and the expensive suits who always showed up to job sites acting like he was doing us a favor. The guy who Sarah had met at our company barbecue last summer. I want you out, I said quietly. What? Out of the business. Out of my life. I'll buy out your half. You've got 48 hours to accept my offer, or I'll make this messy. Your choice. Jake looked like I'd slapped him. Marcus, come on. 15 years we've built this together. And you threw it away the second you decided to lie to me. Get out of my sight. Hashtag part 4. The plan. I didn't go home that day. Or the next. I checked into a motel and started thinking. Sarah had betrayed me. Jake had betrayed me. But I wasn't about to let them destroy what I'd built. My business, my reputation, my relationship with Emma. I'd protect all of it. But I also wasn't going to let them walk away clean. I spent 3 days researching David Chun. Turns out Mr. Perfect had some secrets of his own. His development company was leveraged to the hilt. One big project falling through, and he'd be bankrupt. And guess what his biggest current project was? The Riverside development. The one my company was contracted for. I made some calls. Asked around. Found out David had cut corners on permits, bribed a city inspector, used substandard materials on another project that had failed inspection. Nothing major enough to take him down alone. But together? With the right person making the right complaints to the right people? Game over. But I needed proof. And I needed Sarah to incriminate herself. That's when I came up with the plan. Hashtag part 5. The setup. On day 4 I came home. Sarah was shocked to see me. Marcus, where have you been? I've been calling. I've been so worried. Business emergency in Pittsburgh, I said, setting down my bag. Phone died, and I left my charger. Sorry I didn't call from the hotel. The lie came easy. Funny how that happens. Oh. Okay. She looked relieved. Guilty people always look relieved when you give them an excuse to stop worrying. How did it go? Great, actually. Landed a huge contract. We need to celebrate. I pulled her into a hug, and it took everything in me not to push her away. I'm thinking dinner this weekend. Let's go somewhere fancy. Maybe invite Jake and Lisa? I felt her tense. Jake. Yeah, why not? Haven't done couples dinner in forever. Okay. Sure. That night, I installed a hidden camera in our bedroom. One of those tiny ones that looks like a phone charger. Then I left my laptop open on my desk with a fake email draft pulled up, an email to a forensic accountant about investigating financial irregularities in Chin Development. I didn't send it. I just left it there, minimized but not closed. Sarah always was nosy. Hashtag part 6. The unraveling. 2 days later, my phone rang. David Chun. Mr. Webb, we need to talk. About what? I think you know. His voice was tight. Nervous. I got a very interesting call from my accountant this morning. Seems someone's been asking questions about my company finances. I smiled. Sarah had taken the bait. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't play games. Look, whatever your wife told you. My wife. I let confusion color my voice. What does Sarah have to do with your finances? Silence on the other end. Then, you don't know. Know what? He hung up. Perfect. Within an hour, Sarah called me, panicked. Marcus, can you come home? We need to talk. When I walked in, she was pacing the living room, crying. Real tears this time. I messed up, she sobbed. I messed up so bad. I sat down slowly. What happened? And then it all came pouring out. The affair. David. The lies. She claimed it was a mistake, that she was confused, that she still loved me. All the classic lines. I let her talk. Let her cry. Let her beg. Then I said, I know. She froze. What? I've known for 4 days. I've known about David, about Jake covering for you, all of it. Marcus. I gave you a chance, I said quietly. These past few days, I gave you a chance to come clean. To tell me yourself. And you didn't. You were just going to keep lying. Please, I'm sorry, I'll end it. I'll do anything. It's already over, Sarah. I filed for divorce this morning. And before you start planning how to take me to the cleaners, you should know that I have evidence. Photos, messages, even video from our bedroom of you on the phone with him, planning your next meetup. Her face went pale. You recorded us? I recorded you. In my house. Perfectly legal in this state. I stood up. You'll get what's fair according to the law. I'm not trying to leave you with nothing. But you're not taking my business, and you're not taking Emma from me. If you fight this, I'll make sure every person in this town knows exactly what you did. Hashtag part 7, the fallout. The next 3 months were hell. Sarah tried to fight the divorce at first, but her lawyer took one look at the evidence and told her to settle. Jake sold me his half of the business for less than it was worth. He knew he had no leverage. David Chen's development company collapsed after I made an anonymous tip to the city building inspector about his permit violations. Turns out when you dig into someone's business practices, you find all sorts of interesting things. Emma took it hardest. She didn't understand why Mommy and Daddy were splitting up, why Uncle Jake didn't come around anymore. I couldn't tell her the truth. She was too young, and despite everything, Sarah was still her mother. So I told her that sometimes grown-ups grow apart, that it wasn't her fault, that both of us would always love her. Some nights, she'd cry herself to sleep, and I'd sit outside her door, listening, feeling like the worst father in the world for not being able to fix it. But here's the thing about betrayal. Once it happens, there's no going back. You can forgive, maybe, but you can't forget. And I didn't want to forget. I wanted to remember exactly what trusting the wrong people felt like, so I'd never make that mistake again. Hashtag part 8. 6 months later. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks ago. Sarah moved into an apartment across town. We have joint custody of Emma, week on, week off. Jake moved to Arizona. Heard he's working for some big contractor out there. We haven't spoken since that day at the warehouse. David Chen filed for bankruptcy and left the state. And me? I'm still here. Still running my business bigger than ever now, actually. Turns out having someone to prove wrong is pretty good motivation. Emma's doing better. She's in therapy, which helps. She's even starting to smile again at dinner, telling me about her day, about her friends, about some boy she thinks is cute. The house feels emptier now. Some nights I walk past the bedroom and remember what it felt like to think I had a partner, a teammate, someone who had my back. But I also remember what it felt like to be lied to be made a fool of, to trust people who didn't deserve it. Last Friday, I went out for a beer. Alone this time. And you know what? It wasn't that bad. Hashtag epilogue. The truth about revenge. Here's what they don't tell you about revenge. It doesn't make you feel better. Sure, there was satisfaction in exposing the lies, in making sure Sarah and David and Jake faced consequences for what they did, in protecting my daughter and my business from people who would have destroyed both without a second thought. But at the end of the day, I still lost my marriage. I still lost my best friend. I still have to see my daughter only half the time. Was it worth it? I don't know. Ask me again, in 5 years. What I do know is this. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. That guy who trusted easily, who believed the best in people, who thought loyalty meant something, he's gone. And maybe that's the real tragedy here. Not what they took from me, but what I had to become to survive it. Last night, Emma asked me if I was happy. I thought about lying. Thought about putting on a brave face and telling her everything was fine. Instead, I told her the truth. Not yet, sweetheart. But I will be. Someday. She hugged me then, this fierce 13-year-old hug that nearly knocked me over. I love you, Dad. I love you too, Em. Always. And you know what? Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's the real win here, not the revenge, not the justice, not making them pay. Maybe it's just knowing that when everything fell apart, I still had the one person who mattered most. My daughter still trusts me, still loves me, still believes I'm a good man. As long as that's true, I can rebuild everything else. One day at a time. The end.